That time when we tease our guest of the night on Newsmakers Tonight. We look at your screens there. She's got an entourage. She moves with a security detail. Her name is Rev Lucy Natasha, also known as the Oracle of God. And as you can see, that's her security detail there. People have questioned her source of income. She's got a big following on social media. And we also want to know why her followers refer to her as the Oracle. There has been controversy over the prosperity gospel, people questioning whether men of the cloth, women of the cloth should live a lavish life. We've known her to travel in private jets. We've known her to have a traveling ministry. She preaches locally and internationally. Rev Lucy Natasha is our guest on Newsmakers, and that is her as she makes her grand entrance to the Communication Center here at the Royal Media Services Citizen TV. She's just about to alight from her car, and there you have it. There you go. That is the Oracle. Very beautiful. Reverend Lucy Natasha is our guest on Newsmakers. Send us your questions and comments. Indeed, hashtag is Newsmakers. And it's that time you've been waiting for. It's time for your Newsmaker this Friday. And our Newsmaker this evening is the very beautiful, the very anointed, as many of you say, the very blessed Reverend Lucy Natasha. Yes. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Looking gorgeous as usual.
Oh,
do you get that reaction from people, from your congregation? Do they feel that your beauty might perhaps sometimes distract from the content, which is what you're all about?
And not really. Yeah, but we pray and slay. You know, in our generation, we pray and slay, but I really don't get that. I really don't get it. Most of the times, people focus more on the content and what they are receiving.
That's right.
Yes.
That's great. And let's talk about your grand entry into our communication center, the security detail, the bodyguards, the entourage. You have a convoy of big flashy cars. What's that about?
Actually, it's we are coming from a kingdom assignment, and that's why we are a few minutes late. But the reason why that, sometimes people feel it is like an entourage, I would not really call it an entourage. I would call it a team. You know, it is teamwork that makes the dream work. Even Jesus Christ, though he was Christ, the anointed one, he also needed 12 men, that could help him fulfill his assignment. So basically, the people that move with me are just people that have ministry assignments, people that are part of my kingdom assignment, because you cannot fulfill destiny by yourself. You need people to help you accomplish your destiny. So these are just sons and daughters in the ministry, and we are just coming from a kingdom assignment. And of course, when I told them I'm coming to Newsmakers, they also came together with me. So it's not really an entourage, it's a team, because teamwork makes the dream work. So these are just sons and daughters.
Yeah, because the reason I asked that, Rev, is because people are of the opinion that this is a security detail. So you're clarifying that this is a team that you work with that are actually also in the same ministry that you are in?
Yes, they are protocol team, and some of them have different functions. Just like in the ministry of Jesus, he moved with 12 men amongst other people that moved with Jesus for different assignments. So some of them, and actually amongst them, there are those that are in security, but not all of them are security, because security is paramount for everybody. Whether you are in ministry, in the corporate world, in the business world, security is important for everybody. But these are just sons and daughters, just like it was in the ministry of Jesus. People that were significant, people that were helping him in fulfilling his assignment, because I can't do it by myself.
Right. And your look is very coordinated. Your security men are in black. I see the ladies that you walk with as well. You have a very coordinated, fashionable look. Is that deliberate?
That's deliberate, and it's just deciding to serve God with excellence, of which there is nothing wrong. People in weddings, they choose to coordinate colors. People decide during special events, but for us as a ministry, the spirit of excellence is paramount. Right. So it's just deciding to do things in an orderly way, and also times and seasons have changed. Though the gospel is the same, the means of reaching our generation is quite different, and there is nothing wrong with being fashionable.
Right.
Yes.
They refer to you as the Oracle of God. What is the Oracle?
Yeah, I believe that is something that some people have always wondered. It is a prophetic name, meaning it's a name that I got by revelation, and I got that name from God when I started full-time ministry at the age of 19 years. That is when I started full-time ministry, and the Lord spoke to me according to 1 Peter 4:11, that you shall declare the oracles of God. So the meaning of the name oracle is God's mouthpiece. That means I don't speak for myself. I'm just a messenger with a message. So when they say oracle, in short, it's just to say you are God's mouthpiece. You are speaking the mind and the heart of God. And I feel that is what God has called me to do, even in our generation.
And perhaps for most people, you came into their attention on social media, your Instagram, your Facebook. You have very prominent images there of your traveling ministry, as well as of your sermons here in Nairobi. So this big following on social media, and how you tied this into your ministry and preaching the gospel, how significant is it?
This is quite significant for me in the sense that our generation is on social media. Our generation is on these platforms. And so one of the best ways of also as a ministry of reaching out to our generation is through media. So actually it is so deliberate. Even all our services, they are on all our services that we host weekly in the city on Monday. All our services are broadcasted live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Periscope, because our generation is there. So we don't want our generation just to follow Beyonce and Jay-Z. We also want them to follow Christ. So it has been significant in the sense that some of them have been able to receive Jesus. Some of them that would not go to church immediately have received Jesus through social media platforms. And from that, they take a step forward into going even into the church. So it has been quite significant.
You've said our generation severally. When you talk about our generation, does that then mean that you're targeting a younger demographic?
Yeah, I feel I'm called for the young generation. I'm called for this generation, the generation that is within my age bracket. Although we have people from different, generations that attend our meetings, but purposely I feel that God, I am tailor-made for this generation because I speak their language. I understand what they are going through and where they are coming from. So to me, I feel I'm called for this generation.
How old are you?
That is a good question. But as a lady...
I know. I never tell people how old I am.
Let's just say the Lord is renewing us every day.
Yes, we're blessed with youth. So, in terms of how you make your income, how you sustain your livelihood, we've seen very flashy images of you in private jets. We've seen you on business class and first class flights when you travel. So people would then wonder, how does Reverend Natasha make her money?
That is a very good question, and I really appreciate that question, especially because of people's perception. Sometimes, especially on social media, I have come to realize that people will crucify you in the court of public opinion without knowing the facts. But most of the times when you see us in private jets, business class, I am an international conference speaker. I am invited around the world, and when people invite you, some of them will invite you, pay business class tickets. I'm invited to speak. I've traveled so far in over 50 nations around the world in 12 years, preaching the gospel. People will pay private jets for you, and that honor is not something to be scorned. It is something to be celebrated. Even if it was a business person, those viewers that are watching us, if it was somebody in the corporate world, they are paid a business class ticket, or somebody in the corporate world, it's not something they would really, but when they see a preacher, so basically it is just the honor that is accorded to us. But even in terms of income, the source of income, as a ministry, we have partners from around the world that support what we do, which is reaching our generation with the gospel. And even Jesus Christ, if he was in our days, I believe he would use the fastest means of transportation, which would be aeroplanes, private jets. So there's nothing wrong with using that. But getting into the answer of a source of income, also I'm an author of some few books. I even brought some few books that you can give to some of our viewers tonight. I'm an author of more than 12 books. That is one of them. Favor, the game changer. Every problem has an expiry date before you say I do. These are several books. Touching Heaven Through Prayer, so these are different books that I've written, and they have been distributed in over 50 nations around the world. Right. So yeah, I'm also an author, and I'm also an entrepreneur, which most people don't know. I'm an entrepreneur, and I have interest in several things like real estate, amongst other things.
Right. And reading you up, Reverend Natasha, you're this confident lady with this booming voice now, and you command thousands. But I read you up and I saw that you actually had a speaking disorder growing up. Tell us about that and how you overcame it.
Yeah, actually I am a living testimony and a walking miracle. For those that don't believe in miracles, they should use me as a testimony that there is a miracle. And this was really a turning point in my life. I grew up not being able to speak eloquently, fluently, and I was a very shy child because I had that speech disorder. But at the age of 9 years, by prayer, God touched me, and that was my first time to actually speak properly. So it is just by prayer. So I believe
you actually you were stammering.
I was a serious stammerer. Even to construct a sentence was an issue. Those that know me from the days of Mathare and growing up in Huruma, they can actually be able to give a testimony of what I'm talking about. I grew up as a stammerer, but at the age of 9, by divine encounter and by prayer, that is when God touched me. And it's, a miracle is something you cannot really explain or even be able to, Yes.
Yes. And your choice to host or hold your services on Mondays. People go to church on Saturdays for the SDAs and then on Sunday for the other churches. But you chose to preach on Mondays. Why is that?
Yeah, the reason why I chose on Monday, before the Miracle Monday services were born were established. Oh my God. Before we established Miracle Monday service, we just turned 2 last Monday. We had our 2nd anniversary. Yeah. Before we started the Miracle Monday service, God spoke to me because I've been a traveling minister, traveling around the nations of the world. And the Lord said, Nairobi is the city of divine assignment. So when God called me to the city, the first instruction he gave me is go and establish an interdenominational outreach ministry. So that is how Miracle Monday was born. And the reason why we choose Monday is because you can use any other day to serve God. You can worship on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. There is actually no specific day that is actually set that can be a day of worship. But our services are just on Monday, and we meet at 680 Hotel along Kenyatta Avenue in the city.
So on Sundays, do you go to church? Do you perhaps go to another church? I know your mother is a pastor.
My mother is a pastor by the grace of God. I'm actually a product of her faith. But on Sunday, when I'm not preaching, I am with her, and most oftenly I get invitations. So I travel to different places, and I'm always back to preach on Monday. But when I'm not preaching anywhere, definitely I fellowship. Yes.
Okay. So away from the gospel, Rev Natasha, because like I said, and that's how I started, you're very beautiful. There are bachelors here who are saying, is Reverend Natasha taken? They say you're stunning. And then of course, you're independent. You've created a name for yourself. So they're asking, are you taken?
Wow. I'm really humbled by those compliments. But my Adam, let's say that my Adam is still sleeping. I think I'm still in his rib. And he needs to wake up so that I can be pulled. I need to be pulled from his rib. So currently I'm still single and waiting for the right person, because also, the nature of my ministry, I would need a man that I can be able to connect with, and a man that can also be able to, just come and also be a pillar of strength in terms of what I'm called to do in this generation and in the ministry. Yes.
And as we close, Reverend Natasha will be offering this book to our viewers who send in your questions, send in your comments, and you could be the lucky winner of this book authored by Reverend Lucy Natasha. It's called Favor, the Game Changer. Favor, the Game Changer. You can also look her up on her social media platforms. We'll be tweeting that to you. And finally, Reverend, what do people know about you? Over the years, you've overcome a lot. You are a stammerer. You've created this larger-than-life impression about what your life is. You've got thousands maybe even millions of followers internationally. What don't people know about you?
Okay, one of the things that I feel people don't know about me is that besides people knowing that I came from a humble beginning, one of the major things that people don't know is that, in my high school days, during the holidays, I used to be a promoter. I used to work in supermarkets, merchandising different products, because we came from a very humble beginning. And I truly thank God that sometimes your history does not determine your destiny. I always tell people I'm a living testimony that your place of birth is not your destination. It's only your origin. I was born in the slums, but the slums were not born in me. So I grew up under very, though I thank God that, God was there with us, and but I was a merchandiser. I was like promoting items and goods in supermarkets during the school holidays, so that is, I think, one of the things that people don't know about me. Yes.
And that is fantastic. Last and final question, the prosperity gospel. People believe that men and women of the cloth are supposed to live a very humble life. You're supposed to be very, for lack of a better word, humble. And you've been on the dailies and you've been talked about by bloggers as well, because of your flashy way of doing things. What would you like to say to critics who believe that people of God, men of God, women of God, should perhaps live a very laid back and humble life?
Actually, humility means different things to different people, but serving God with excellence or with elegance does not really, that does not show that you are not humble, because humbleness is something of the heart, and I can assure you that that is a wrong misconception with people, that humility is about, being poor. Actually, the blessing of God, according to Proverbs 10:21, maketh rich and addeth no sorrow. And even our father Abraham, our father of faith, in Genesis 13:2, he was rich in gold, silver, and livestock. So I think that is a misconception, because our God is not a poor God. Gold and silver belongs to the Lord, and all its, and the earth and its all, and all its fullness. So for me, I believe it's all about how you choose to live your life. Whether you are a businessman, whether you're in the corporate world, live your life according to God's standards. So talking about a flashy lifestyle, to me, I don't really see anything flashy. It's all about living life, and all of us, we can choose how we want to do things.
That's right. And yes, you are involved in Natasha Wings of Compassion, and therefore we've seen you engage in a lot of charity activities. Actually, I don't really see you posting a lot about your charity. It's not as loud, but I am aware that you are involved in charity.
Yeah, we have an arm of the ministry that is called the Natasha Hand of Compassion, and this one mainly is for reaching the less privileged in society, and we've done quite a lot. I actually won an award, the African Prestigious Awards in Accra, Ghana, from my organization, the Natasha Hand of Compassion, because of the works we have done in prisons. We go a lot to prisons, to just give basic effects, and also to distribute Bibles, home of the aged, physical, giving mobility devices to the physically challenged. We go to children's homes, amongst many other things that we do, just to reach out to the less privileged in society, orphans and widows, and that is one arm of the ministry that I'm so passionate about. So when we are not engaging in crusades, conferences, revivals, Miracle Monday, and the traveling ministry, that is where you will find me at the Natasha Hand of Compassion.
The Natasha Hand of Compassion, and we've been talking to Reverend Lucy Natasha. You need to look her up on her social media platforms. Remember, like she said, you can find her at 680 Hotel here in Nairobi every Monday. Thank you very much for speaking to us. And you need to also write in if you want to be the lucky winner of one of these books. We've got 2 different titles of books.
5.
Oh, there's 5 different.
Yes, there is Every Problem Has an Expiry Date. Then we have The God's Leading Lady.
Yes.
Then we have Touching Heaven through prayer. And finally, we have Every Problem Has an Expiry Date.
Wow.
And so we are giving 5 of each of the books.
You've been busy. You've been writing all of this over the years?
Yes, I've written 12 books so far, and 3 are yet to be published before the end of this year.
It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us here on Friday night, and we wish you all the very best. That's our newsmaker for tonight, Reverend Lucy Natasha. And coming up,